as the first light stretches across the window, or perhaps before the sun has even thought to stir, there's a quiet moment, isn't there? A space where the world is hushed, but our own thoughts begin to hum. We wake, and instantly, the weight of the day ahead seems to settle upon us. It's a familiar feeling, this morning burden, isn't it? A silent symphony of anxieties that whisper of tasks undone, of worries unaddressed, of the long list of demands awaiting our energy. The morning can feel like a vast ocean to cross, and we often feel like we're standing on the shore, unprepared, with only a small vessel for such a journey. Perhaps the night brought little rest, leaving us tired before the day has even properly begun. The body still aches, the mind feels sluggish, and the spirit struggles to find its footing. We carry the remnants of yesterday's frustrations, the echoes of words left unspoken, or perhaps words we wish we could take back. The shadows of past mistakes can cling to the edges of our morning thoughts, reminding us of our perceived failures, whispering that we are not enough. The vulnerability of these early hours is profound. Our defenses are lower, the protective layers we build during the day are not yet fully formed. It's a time when the subconscious often spills its contents into our conscious awareness, bringing with it unresolved issues and lingering doubts. The quiet allows these internal voices to be heard more clearly, amplified by the stillness, making them feel larger and more formidable than they truly are. There's a particular kind of loneliness that can greet us in the quiet hours, a feeling of facing it all by ourselves. We might look at the challenges ahead, a difficult conversation, a looming deadline, an uncertain path, and feel a tremor of fear deep within. Our strength feels finite, our wisdom insufficient, our patience already stretched thin. The noise of the world hasn't even fully started, yet the internal clamor can be deafening. We project fears into the future, imagining worst-case scenarios, allowing our minds to race down pathways of worry and despair. We want to be brave, to face the day with courage, but sometimes, the very act of stepping out of bed feels like an overwhelming feat. The desire to retreat, to pull the covers back over our heads, and escape the responsibility, is a powerful pull. We feel inadequate for the tasks before us, for the roles we must play, for the expectations placed upon us by others and by ourselves. This insidious sense of inadequacy gnaws at our self-worth, making every impending task feel like a judgment of our core being. We may replay past failures or anticipate future ones, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of dread. The pressure of societal expectations, often internalized, contributes significantly to this morning malaise. We live in a world that constantly demands more, faster, better, and the quiet of the morning provides a stark contrast to this relentless pace, making our internal struggles even more apparent. Our hearts ache with the longing for peace, yet peace seems so distant, obscured by the clouds of apprehension. There are moments when we simply don't know where to start, which problem to tackle first, or how to navigate the complexities that will surely arise. We yearn for clarity, for a guiding hand, for a sense of purpose that feels lost in the morning haze. This silent cry, this longing for something more, something stronger than ourselves, rises within us, even before the first sip of coffee. We long for a presence that can anchor us, a love that can sustain us, a wisdom that can light our path. The morning holds so much potential, yet it also carries the weight of so many unknowns. And in these moments, we realize how truly vulnerable we are, how much we need something beyond our own limited understanding and strength. We bring all of this, every worry, every fear, every tired sigh, to this quiet space, seeking solace. We acknowledge the ache, the struggle, the simple human truth of needing help. We don't have to pretend, we can simply be. This is where we are, Lord. This is how we feel. These are the burdens of our morning. We lay them here, openly, before you. The rising sun may offer beauty, but it doesn't always lift the burdens from our hearts. It is in this vulnerable space, in this honest admission of our need, that the true turning can begin. We feel the pull to control, to strategize, to force solutions, to carry every single burden ourselves. We are taught from a young age that self-reliance is paramount, that strength means bearing every load, solving every problem. This ingrained mindset, while sometimes productive, often becomes a heavy yoke, demanding perfection and exhausting our finite reserves. It's a treadmill that, no matter how fast we run, never truly takes us to a place of rest. So, we begin the slow, gentle act of letting go. This is not a passive resignation, but a deliberate, powerful choice. We unclench our hands, both literally and figuratively, releasing our tight grip on what we believe we must manage, on the outcomes we desperately try to dictate. We surrender the outcome of this day, not with indifference, for we still care deeply about our responsibilities and relationships, but with a conscious choice to trust something greater than our limited vision. This trust transcends logical analysis. It's a leap of faith into the boundless wisdom and love that permeates existence. We whisper, "Lord, into your hands I commit this day, my spirit, my body, and my mind." This isn't a passive retreat from responsibility, a mere wish for problems to disappear. On the contrary, it is an active, intentional act of faith, a profound acknowledgement that there are forces and wisdom far beyond our own capacity. It's an invitation for a divine hand to guide, to strengthen, to illuminate what remains obscure to our weary eyes. This act of surrender is akin to setting down a heavy backpack you've been carrying for miles, realizing there's a different, lighter way to journey. It doesn't mean the path ahead is suddenly flat or easy, but it means you are no longer burdened by the full, crushing weight of every single stone. We speak this surrender not as a last resort, when all our own efforts have failed, but as the foundational act of our mourning, believing that in giving it over, we paradoxically gain the strength to face it. This is the moment where the quiet hum of anxiety begins to soften, replaced by a nascent feeling of peace. It's a peace that isn't dependent on circumstances suddenly aligning, on every problem finding an immediate solution, or on the absence of challenge. Rather, it's a peace that arises from an inner stillness, a deep-seated conviction that we are not alone in this journey, that we are supported by an omnipresent, benevolent force. We may not see the entire path stretched out before us. The fog of uncertainty might still cling to the horizon, obscuring future events, but we trust that the next step, the crucial next decision, will be revealed when it is needed. This trust is like a compass point, steady and true, guiding us through the unknown, ensuring we do not drift aimlessly. The burdens we carried just moments ago, the unmet expectations, the daunting tasks, the ghosts of past mistakes, don't vanish entirely, but their sharp edges begin to dull. They are still present, perhaps as challenges to be met or lessons to be learned, but now they rest in a larger context, held within a divine embrace that offers perspective and a promise of support. We recognize that our value isn't measured by our achievements or our flawless execution, by how perfectly we navigate every situation, but by our willingness to simply show up, authentically, and lean into grace. This realization is a profound liberation, freeing us from the relentless pressure of self-sufficiency and the exhausting pursuit of external validation. It allows us to breathe deeply, to release the tension held within our shoulders, to feel the gentle easing of a furrowed brow. The weight that pressed upon us seems to lighten, not because the challenges have diminished, but because our capacity to face them, bolstered by an unseen strength, has expanded exponentially. We acknowledge that the worries that plagued our waking moments are often projections of a future that has not yet come to pass, imagined scenarios fueled by fear rather than reality. By surrendering these anxieties, we choose to live in the present moment, to engage with the actual demands of the day, rather than fighting battles that exist only in our minds, draining our energy before anything real has even occurred. This mindful approach allows us to allocate our energy more effectively, focusing on what truly requires our attention and responding with presence rather than preoccupation. This isn't to say that difficulties will miraculously disappear. Life, in its beautiful and sometimes brutal complexity, will continue to present its trials. But with this act of surrender, we cultivate a different kind of inner posture. Instead of meeting challenges with dread and resistance, we can approach them with a quiet confidence, knowing that we are equipped with more than our own finite resources. We learn to see obstacles not as insurmountable walls, but as opportunities for growth, for learning, for experiencing the depth of divine provision, transforming potential stumbling blocks into stepping stones. Consider, for a moment, the specific anxieties that often surface, making our mornings heavy and our spirits weary. Each category of concern, when viewed through the lens of surrender, takes on a new dimension of possibility and peace. Perhaps it's the professional pressure to meet demanding targets, to navigate complex workplace politics, or to deliver a presentation that feels overwhelming. The corporate ladder often feels like a slippery, competitive climb, where every step is scrutinized and every misstep can feel catastrophic. Imposter syndrome, fear of failure, and unattainable perfection often paralyze us. Deadlines loom large, demanding our finite energy, while the constant need to innovate leads to creative blocks. In surrendering these professional anxieties, we are not abandoning responsibilities. Rather, we invite divine wisdom into planning, clarity into communication, and resilience into efforts. Instead of forcing outcomes through willpower, we seek guidance to discern effective strategies and innovative solutions. We ask for the right words in negotiations, right decisions in ethical dilemmas, and right perspective even when circumstances are chaotic. This allows inspired action over anxious reaction, transforming challenges into opportunities for growth and success, knowing our efforts are part of a supportive plan. Or perhaps the burdens are rooted in personal relationships, a strained family dynamic that causes perpetual heartache, a difficult conversation with a loved one that keeps being postponed, or the ache of loneliness that feels particularly acute in the quiet of the morning. Human connection, while deeply rewarding, is also inherently complex, fraught with misunderstandings, differing expectations, and the pain of past hurts. We struggle to offer forgiveness, to set healthy boundaries, or to communicate our needs effectively. The longing for genuine intimacy can be met with fear of vulnerability, creating cycles of withdrawal and isolation. When we offer these relationships to a higher power, we invite boundless compassion to guide our interactions, divine patience to temper our reactions, and profound understanding to bridge divides that once seemed uncrossable. We seek the grace to forgive, not just others, but ourselves, for perceived failings, to listen deeply, truly hearing the unspoken needs of those around us, and to offer love even when it is challenging, even when it feels unrequited. This surrender transforms our approach, shifting from a reactive stance, driven by ego and fear, to one of intentional kindness, empathetic engagement, and unconditional acceptance. It allows us to nurture relationships from a place of wholeness, recognizing that true connection is built on grace, not on demanding perfection from ourselves or others. Health concerns frequently weigh heavily on our minds, casting a long, often terrifying, shadow over our daily lives. This might be the fear of illness itself, an unexpected diagnosis that rocks our world, the uncertainty of recovery from a major medical event, or the daily, grinding struggle with chronic conditions that sap our energy and spirit. We may feel a profound sense of injustice or despair over limitations imposed on our bodies. The mental battle against physical discomfort can be as exhausting as the illness itself, leading to feelings of helplessness and isolation. In these moments, surrender is an act of acknowledging our physical limitations, our human frailty, while simultaneously trusting in a benevolent presence that oversees all things and holds our well-being in its care. We pray not just for physical healing, which we ardently desire, but also for comfort in pain, for the wisdom to make healthy choices that support our bodies, and for the strength to endure what cannot be changed, finding peace within the discomfort. We commit our bodies, with all their vulnerabilities and incredible resilience, to divine care, seeking a deeper peace even in the midst of physical discomfort, and holding on to hope for restoration and wholeness, whatever form that may take. This doesn't mean neglecting medical advice, but rather integrating faith into our healthcare journey, allowing spiritual solace to complement physical treatment. Financial instability, too, can cast a long shadow over our mornings, affecting not just our material comfort, but our sense of security and dignity. The pressure to make ends meet, to pay bills, to provide for our families, to save for the future, can be immense. The anxiety of unexpected expenses, a car repair, a medical bill, a home emergency, can feel like a threat to our very survival. We might compare our financial situation to others, leading to feelings of shame, envy, or inadequacy. The relentless pursuit of material security can consume our thoughts, making it difficult to find joy in the present. Here, surrender becomes a release of control over our material circumstances, trusting that our needs will be met, not always in the precise way we expect, but in a manner that sustains us and provides what is truly essential. We ask for guidance in managing our resources wisely, for opportunities to flourish and generate abundance, and for a spirit of contentment that transcends our economic situation, allowing us to find peace and gratitude regardless of our bank balance. This trust encourages prudence and diligence in our financial practices, but frees us from the paralyzing fear and grasping anxiety that often accompany monetary concerns, enabling a healthier, more balanced relationship with wealth. The feeling of inadequacy, that persistent, insidious whisper of "you are not enough" or "you cannot do this," can be particularly debilitating, permeating every aspect of our lives. This might manifest as intellectual inadequacy when facing a complex problem or academic challenge, creative blocks when attempting to innovate or express ourselves, or social inadequacy when navigating new groups, public speaking, or challenging interactions. We might feel we lack the intelligence, the talent, the charisma, or the experience to succeed. This internal critic, fueled by comparison and past perceived failures, can paralyze us, preventing us from taking necessary risks or pursuing our passions. When we surrender this profound sense of deficiency, we invite an infusion of divine creativity, intellectual clarity, and social grace. We ask for the courage to step forward despite our perceived limitations, trusting that the necessary insights and abilities will be provided, often in unexpected ways. It is a profound shift from relying solely on our finite talents and past experiences to drawing upon an infinite wellspring of potential and divine inspiration. We acknowledge our human fallibility, our natural limitations, but simultaneously embrace a divine empowerment that transcends them, allowing us to approach tasks with a humble confidence rather than paralyzing self-doubt. This surrender fosters a deep sense of self-acceptance, recognizing that our worth is intrinsic and not dependent on external validation or flawless performance. The act of surrender extends even beyond specific, tangible problems to the very fabric of our being and our purpose. Sometimes, the burden is an existential one, a questioning of our path, a feeling of being lost in the vastness of life, or a lack of clear direction in a world full of noise and competing demands. We might struggle with knowing our true calling, or with understanding the broader meaning and significance of our daily efforts, feeling disconnected from a deeper purpose. This searching can lead to a sense of aimlessness, a profound spiritual weariness. In such moments, the surrender of our confusion, our existential angst, and our longing for clarity is a powerful prayer. We ask for a guiding light to illuminate our next steps, for discernment to recognize the opportunities and directions that genuinely align with our deepest purpose and values. This isn't about being given a detailed, pre-written map for the entire journey, which might rob us of the joy of discovery and growth. Rather, it is the assurance that each step will be illuminated as it is taken, fostering a profound sense of purpose, meaning, and inner peace even amidst the inevitable uncertainties of life's grand adventure. It is a trust that our journey is unfolding as it should, guided by a loving hand, even when we cannot see the destination. The divine presence doesn't just lighten our burdens, it actively participates in our lives when invited, transforming challenges into pathways for deeper connection and growth. This participation manifests not always as dramatic intervention, but often as subtle shifts, a timely insight, an unexpected encounter, a sudden feeling of peace in a tumultuous moment, or a surge of strength when we feel depleted. It is comfort in sorrow, a gentle balm for a wounded heart, strength in weakness, enabling us to face what we thought impossible, wisdom in confusion, illuminating paths previously unseen, and profound peace in the midst of chaos, an anchor in the storm. It's a promise of companionship, an assurance that we are never truly alone, even when the world feels most isolating, when friends and family cannot fully grasp our pain. This isn't a passive waiting for problems to disappear, a dismissal of our human agency, but an active, ongoing dialogue and a co-creation with a higher power. We remain diligent in our efforts. We continue to plan, to work, to communicate, to seek solutions with all the resources at our disposal. But we do so from a place of inner calm and resilience, knowing that our efforts are supported and guided by a wisdom far greater than our own. This nuanced approach allows us to engage fully with life, while simultaneously releasing the oppressive weight of sole responsibility. This daily practice of committing our day and ourselves allows us to operate not from a place of frantic striving, driven by anxiety and fear of failure, but from a posture of peaceful intention and purposeful action. It means that when unforeseen challenges arise, and they surely will, for life is a continuous journey of growth and adaptation, our default response shifts dramatically. Instead of immediate panic, despair, or self-blame, we can lean into the established habit of trust. We can take a deep breath, recenter ourselves, and consciously reaffirm our surrender. Even this, Lord, we might whisper, with quiet conviction, I place into your hands. This consistent practice builds an inner fortitude, a spiritual muscle that grows stronger with each act of faith, enabling us to navigate adversity with grace. It transforms our relationship with difficulty, moving us from being passive victims of circumstance, buffeted by every changing tide, to resilient participants in life's journey, always tethered to an unwavering source of strength and hope, no matter how turbulent the waters may become. We begin to see ourselves not as helpless leaves in the wind, but as part of a larger, purposeful design, capable of weathering any storm with divine assistance. Furthermore, this morning surrender, by clearing the mental space occupied by anxiety, profoundly cultivates a spirit of gratitude. As we release our anxieties and trust in divine provision, our eyes, formerly clouded by apprehension, begin to open to the myriad blessings that already exist in our lives. These blessings are often overlooked, pushed into the background amidst the clamor of our worries and the relentless focus on what is lacking or what might go wrong. Suddenly, the simple warmth of the morning light streaming through the window, the comforting sound of a loved one stirring nearby, the invigorating taste of our first cup of coffee, or the steady rhythm of our own breath. These small graces become not just apparent, but deeply felt and cherished. This isn't merely a fleeting emotion, Gratitude, when cultivated deliberately, acts as a powerful transformative force. It actively shifts our perspective from scarcity to abundance, retraining our minds to see what is given rather than what is withheld, moving us from a place of fear to a posture of appreciation and contentment. It reinforces the deep-seated belief that if we are cared for and provided for in these seemingly small, everyday ways, then we will undoubtedly be sustained in larger, more significant ones too, even when the path ahead is uncertain. This isn't about ignoring hardship or pretending that difficulties don't exist. That would be disingenuous. Instead, it's about finding pockets of joy and light even within difficult seasons, acknowledging the pain while simultaneously recognizing the presence of grace. This balanced perspective fosters a more resilient, hopeful, and ultimately, a more peaceful outlook on life, transforming our inner landscape and allowing us to approach each day with a heart attuned to blessing rather than burden. The beauty of this daily commitment is its profound accessibility. It requires no special rituals that demand elaborate preparations or external conditions. It doesn't need a specific place or time of day, though the quiet of the morning offers a unique invitation. All it truly asks for is an open heart and a willing spirit, a sincere desire for peace amidst life's complexities. It's as simple as a whisper, a silent thought breathed in the stillness, a moment taken before the day sweeps us irrevocably into its current and its countless demands. It's a fundamental recognition that before we can pour ourselves out for others, before we can effectively shoulder our responsibilities and engage with the world, we must first be filled, anchored, and aligned from within. This isn't selfish. It is essential self-care, a profound act of spiritual nourishment that ensures our well-being and enhances our capacity to serve. This simple act of surrender becomes our inner sanctuary, a portable, quiet refuge we can return to throughout the day whenever the weight of responsibility threatens to overwhelm, whenever fear attempts to creep back in, or whenever we feel ourselves losing our center. It serves as a constant, gentle reminder that our strength is not solely our own, originating from our limited human reserves, but is drawn from a deeper, inexhaustible source, boundless in its power and grace. This consistent practice transforms not just our mornings, but our entire approach to life, fostering a fundamental shift in our worldview and our emotional responses. It's a purposeful journey from anxious striving, where every success feels fleeting and every failure devastating, to peaceful trusting, where outcomes are released and presence is embraced. It moves us from a posture of self-reliance, which inevitably leads to exhaustion and isolation, to one of divine dependence, which brings liberation and profound connection. It empowers us to face each moment with an unwavering courage, a gentle grace, and an enduring sense of peace, knowing that we are eternally held, perfectly guided, and unconditionally loved every single step of the way. So, as the world outside awakens, bustling with its own rhythms and demands, we too step forward, not with the heavy burden of our own perceived limitations or the crushing weight of singular responsibility, but with the quiet confidence that comes from surrendering our day, our spirit, our body, and our mind into the hands of a benevolent and all-encompassing love. The morning sun, now higher in the sky, doesn't just illuminate the tasks ahead. It shines a powerful light on the path of peace we have chosen, a path made clear and accessible by the profound act of letting go and trusting in what is infinitely greater than ourselves. Let us carry this peace, this clarity of purpose, and this quiet, unshakable strength with us, not just through the challenges, but through every joyful moment, every meaningful interaction, and every opportunity this new day may bring. We are ready, not because we are perfectly prepared for every contingency, but because we are perfectly held in an embrace that transcends all understanding.